Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I am finally home. It is Monday morning, and so I uploaded my video that's usually my Sunday video today. It's actually probably one of the shortest videos I will ever make, 10 minutes long, but I wanted to give you guys some kind of update about where my January reading ended off. So let's talk about that first. Where did my January reading end off? Well, actually, it ended pretty awesome for me because, like I told you guys in that video, I was able to finish all of my TBR books that I set myself for January, except for one, and that was Emily Wow's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And like I said, I was a little disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to finish all 6. But honestly, like I said before also, I'm really proud of myself for finishing 5 of them that I did set. And I talked a little bit about this book before. I said I thought I was about a third of the way in, but actually I'm a little less than a third. I think I still have about like 50 pages or 60 or so to read before I could really say I'm a third of the way through. Right now I'm on page 52, so I've read a couple of chapters. I'm starting to settle in with the character Emily. It's going good so far. I like her, but also she's definitely quirky. Because by the point I'm in at the book right now, she's interacted with the villagers a few times, but she's mostly just been out venturing, looking for fairies and stuff. And I like her, but yeah, she's quirky. I can see how a lot of people, or I guess not people, I can see how other characters in the book might find her like abrasive, socially awkward, things like that, because she's a very blunt and well, she's just blunt. And I mean, she's very knowledgeable, but she thinks very what is the word I'm looking for? She thinks very, it's not like by the book, but I can't think of I know what word I'm thinking of, but I can't say the word I'm thinking of. Did that ever happen to anybody else? Because it happens to me and it drives me nuts. I'm gonna be thinking about it this whole time I'm recording this now. But anyway, I'm liking her. The way she's described Brambley in the book, he sounds like funny. I can't wait to see if they interact in the book more. I think they do, because I've heard a little bit about these books, but I kind of tried to stay away from any spoilers because I knew eventually I would want to read the series, and I didn't want to like already know everything that was happening. I wanted there to be some surprise. But yeah, I'm excited to finish reading that, and I'm not necessarily going to keep it on my TBR for February, but I am going to keep it as a physical copy book I'm reading, and I want to finish it, by this weekend, which I think is very doable, because, it's not like a huge book, but, it's not a small book either, so we'll see how long it takes. Hopefully, I will have an update for you at the end of the week. But the rest of my reading for January, hold on, let me take out my reading journal here, and I'll probably do some clips of my reading journal so you can see it updated now that January's done. I do have a few more things to fill in, and I need to get my February things set up, so that video I will probably not actually be recording until this weekend when I'm off. So, but I can't wait for you guys to see how some of it's filled in. Um, but yeah, so let's see. That, I'll have to check. Oh, I didn't write down Venom in the Blood yet, since I just got home this morning. But I will be writing that down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think I might be off by a couple. Not like less, but like there might be a few more. Because I don't always write down a book right after I finish reading it, like especially if I'm reading it on Kindle, because I can, you know, see my library and see which day I started it, and you know, I remember when I finished it, because I usually start another book right after, so that gives me an idea. But I'll need to check my Kindle app to see if I read any others that I need to write down. But so far, it looks like I've read 15 books for the month. Now, that is actually a little on the low side for me. Actually, it's way on the low side. I think the least books I read in a month last year was like 22 or 23, which is like, if I don't have any more books other than Venom in the Blood to write down, then that's only 7 or 8 more books. And maybe that doesn't seem like a lot to some people, or it does seem like a lot, but honestly, I calculated it because I wrote down how many books I read each month, and I kept track of it. And yeah, the least amount of books I read last year in a month was like 22 or 23. But for the whole year, not even joking, you guys, I read 407 books last year. And I think like maybe 5 or 6 of them were actual physical books. And I think there might have been like 2 audiobooks, and then the rest were ebooks. I went crazy with the ebooks on Kindle and Apple Books. Like, I didn't think it was that much. I thought I had only done like maybe 300 books. But when I added it all up and it was 407, I was like, and then I told my dad, and he was like, oh my God. He's like, do you just read all the time? And I was like, yeah, Dad. Yeah, I do. But anyway, back to my January reads. So I haven't actually calculated any of this yet. So once I film some of my journal, you guys will see this again. So I think I'll just save more of the details until I make that video. But yeah, it looks to be so far that I've read about 15 books for this month. I anticipate that to increase, although I am trying to read more of my physical books. So I might not actually read as much as I did last year if this is about average how it's gonna go a month, because with my work schedule, it takes me longer to read a physical book than it usually would if I was working like the job I used to work before, where I worked more like 9 to 5 or like 5 to 11, you know, like stuff like that. Anyway, so yes, and let me see. So yeah, that means I didn't finish my book club book for the month, but we're not having our book club meeting until Saturday at 3 p.m. So I have until then to finish the book. I'm trying not to pressure myself, but I did say earlier I'd like to finish it by the weekend anyway, and I would. I don't want to try to spend like at least like the whole month of February trying to finish this book. That's dumb. It shouldn't take me that long. So, okay. Now, I will have to pick a monthly favorite, but I don't know what I'm gonna pick yet. That'll also be in my journal video. I did finish my 2 books for my reading bucket list. The one that I read, or the one that I did for audiobook was Dating After the End of the World by Geneva Rose. And then the one I read for my thriller category was The Only One Left. And I already told you guys a little bit about both of those, and they were good. I definitely liked The Only One Left better than Dating After the End of the World. But yeah. If you guys want to hear more about that and my thoughts on those two books, not the video that I released in February, but the last one I released in January, I think that's when I talked about both of those books together. I'd have to check it out to be sure, but I think that video is the one where I mentioned both of them. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to pick 2 more from my reading bucket list today. And I will also be... So I'm excited for the next book in my jellyfish challenge. So if you guys don't remember, Venom in the Blood by Tracy Buchanan was my January jellyfish challenge book. It was so good. It was so good. You know, I talked about it a little bit. It kind of glossed over it in the video that I posted today on Monday. But if you guys want to hear more about it and more of my thoughts about it, hit me up in the comments. I could release a short video talking about it, and you know, just full of spoilers and shit if you want to know. But I don't want to give anything away and, you know, in like a main video, because if someone does hear a little bit about it and then say, oh, that sounds good, maybe I'll try and read this. Like, I don't want to like give all these spoilers away. So I'm excited to talk about what my February Jellyfish Challenge book is. Let's see, my ABC book title challenge and my ABC author challenge is going very well. And then I don't think I have any other challenges. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's go on ahead and talk about what my jellyfish challenge for February book is going to be. Now, for the jellyfish I picked for February was the moon jellyfish, and its characteristics are gracefulness and it's very translucent. So with that, I kind of decided to go with the word gracefulness, and I thought of things that were like gentle, and I don't know what the word is again that I'm trying to think of, but I guess I just wanted something kind of like whimsy, youthful. Like when I think of gracefulness, I either think of like youth, or I think of like delicate, you know, easygoing. Like I kind of think of things like that. So I ended up picking The Secret Garden. Let me get a little bit closer. Yeah, so I ended up picking The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgins Burnett. I think that's right. Yeah, Burnett. And when I bought this, let me take this sticker off. Oh, I hate, and this is such a nice read. Get up. Oh, good, it didn't leave any residue. Okay. I'm a little sleep deprived. I need to go to bed soon. But I wanted to get this video filmed out of the way. Anyway, I ended up picking this not only because it gave me that like youthful kind of like whimsy I was feeling, but I've also just heard a lot about this book, you know, over the year, and I guess I feel like a lot of people have read it when they were like younger, but I never read it. I mean, I heard about it when I was younger, but I just never like tried to find it in the library or, you know, ask my mom to buy it. Nothing. It just wasn't something I really thought about, because if I'm honest, I didn't really start to get into like reading until I think I was like a junior in high school. But then I was also having to read so much during my junior year and senior year English classes that then being forced to read certain things that I really wasn't interested in, it kind of just pushed me off of reading. And then, you know, I read like a book here and there during college, but again, I was a history major and an environmental studies major, and so I was reading research articles and documents and just all this stuff the whole time. And it was brutal my senior year. So I just really didn't read much for pleasure until I finished college. And then after that, I was like, vroom, like Goldie's on the reading bus. So the last few years, I've really just gotten back into reading, but I'm getting off track again. I'm really scatterbrained today. I'm excited to read this. I decided to buy this Barnes & Noble exclusive instead of just like a regular version because first off, I thought this was just gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got foiling. It's just a gorgeous book. It's a gorgeous it's a gorgeous edition. And not only is the outside gorgeous, but it is also illustrated by Charles Robinson. So it has like pictures like this throughout the story. And honestly, I'm just really excited to read it. So yeah, we'll say this is book number 1 on the February TBR. Although I don't really read them in any kind of order, I just kind of read them. Okay, so first book on the, did I say January just a second ago? Or did I say February? I really need some sleep, like some hardcore sleep after this. The first book in the February TBR. Okay, and that again is for my jellyfish challenge. So the next 2 books that I need to pick are gonna be books for my reading bucket list. And if you guys don't remember, I wrote a bunch of numbers on some papers, put them in my cute little decorative Chinese takeout box, or would this be Japanese takeout box? Anyway, this Asian food takeout box that I got for Christmas. It's so cute. And if you also don't remember, I did, although the number pieces should have clued you in, I numbered my boxes on my reading bucket list bingo challenge. So let's pick 2 more numbers, and then we'll have our prompts for 2 more books to pick. Okay. Is that right side up? No, I think that's upside down. 29. Okay. Which prompt is 29? Oi, Mnoy. Okay. I almost said romped. I'm sorry, guys. Prompt 29 is horror. Okay, thank you for that. Okay. I put a bunch of the books that I've just recently bought right here in front of me and beside me so that I could see all of them, and obviously I have some behind me. Okay, so I need to pick out a horror book. Let me look at this shelf first. I don't actually know if I have any horror books up here, actually. Well, I think I have some that are close to horror, but I don't know if I actually have any that are like strictly horror books. Might have to go buy a book. Let me see. Let me look at these 2. No, that's dark romance. Oh, that's dark romance. Dark romance. I think it can be easy sometimes to confuse dark romance with horror because it's dark. I don't know. That just kind of came out, and I don't really know if it's true. Okay, anyway, looking. None of that is horror. None of that is horror. That's not horror. Okay, let me look up at this again. I don't think that is horror. I think, you guys can't read the title, but it's Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I bought this a while ago, and I was like super interested in reading it, but I just didn't get to it yet. I think I bought it like 3 months ago. But I don't think that's considered horror. I think that's considered dark, like romance, and also a little bit of psychological thriller. I have my computer right here. I'm gonna look it up. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so I was right. It's a dark romance / psychological thriller. Okay, so not horror. I wonder if Dirt Creek. Now, I think, because I have these 3 books right here. Dirt Creek by Haley. Okay, I cannot say her last name. I'm sorry. No Strangers Here by Carleen O'Connor. And then Cold Cold Heart by Tammy Hogue. I think that's how you say her last name. I don't think any of those are horror books either. I think they're like thriller, psychological, mystery books. Okay, so maybe I don't actually have any physical copies of horror books. You know what though? I have been interested in buying this book, but I don't think that's considered horror either. I'm looking. There's only one stack of books I didn't bring over here, and it's the ones I keep beside my bed, but none of those are horror either. They're either romance, dark romance, regular romance, and then I don't even know what to classify that one as. Blah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to look that up and come back to you. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm gonna Google search highly rated horror books, see what comes up. Ooh, maybe I should do the list of 30 best horror books of all time. And let's see what comes up. These creepy tales aren't for the faint of heart. Wait, you know what? You know what I just thought about? So I got my niece 2 books for Christmas. She loves like Stephen King, horror, thriller. She loves all that stuff. And I got her 2 books for Christmas, and they were supposed to come visit this past weekend, but because of all the snow we got and because of all the snow they were supposed to get, they did not want to get snowed in, so they didn't come and visit. So I haven't been able to give her 2 books yet, guys. I might actually have a horror book that I can borrow for the month until they get here. let me check. So I'm gonna look these up on Google to see, because I know I think they're close to the category. I don't know if they are horror. Okay, but the first one I got her was Mangerie by Jacob Thomas Austin. This is actually one she asked for specifically, and the other one I got her because it was like, oh, people that read this liked this, so you can't do that. Yeah, so, and I think it's supposed to be like short stories about like animals and shit. Oh, on the back it says from rising horror author. Okay. So I'm like 98% sure this is a horror book now, but let me Google it just to make sure. Oh Lord. You know, actually it's really nice that I thought about this before I decided to like pick a book that I would have to buy. It comes to me when, you know, the smarts come to me when I need it. Sometimes. Let's see. Let me look up the title. It is creature themed horror. And it's all short stories. Yikes. Okay, so that's a possibility. Guys, I don't read horror. I hate watching scary movies. Okay. Now, the other book I got her what is called Cows by Matthew Stoke. So, yeah. Let's look this one up. Because now that we know Mangerie, I'm just going to say Mangerie. Now that we know Mangerie is horror, let's look up Cows. I know, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Cows. All I typed in was cows, and I guess because I just looked up another horror book, it came up first. Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. So it is also, it's a cult classic horror novel that was actually originally published in 1998. Oh, yikes. Oh. Okay, so I'm just looking at what Google says. Why don't I just, read you guys what it says? So, Cows by Matthew Stoke is a cult classic horror novel published in 1998, known for its extreme violence, gritty urban setting, and themes of alienation and societal decay, featuring a surreal plot involving talking cows. It's considered a landmark in gritty urban horror, blending a nightmarish, blood-soaked narrative with elements of love and self-empowerment. What did I buy my niece? I mean, she's gonna be 18 this month, but what the hell did I buy her? She's probably gonna love it. I think I should get some therapy for her or talk to her after she reads these books. Oh my God. And not that there's anything wrong with reading horror, because, some people just get really interested in that. I am just not one of them. And maybe I should have read the description a little bit better before I bought it for her. She'll probably love it. So, yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's what the back of the book says too. So that so they're both horror. Yay me. So I can either read Cows by Matthew Stoke, or I can read Mangerie. I can't remember which one I said I was gonna say now. I know I'm probably just, one of them is wrong and one of them is right. Anyway, this book by Jacob Thomas Austin. Let me actually read the back of you so you guys get a little feel of what it's supposed to be about. An animal can be many things, such is very much the case in this collection of 10 creature-themed horror stories that delve into the dark, the sinister, and the absurd. A taxidermist's life is turned upside down after he accepts a bizarre project request. A vet trip reveals horrific secrets within a man's newly adopted cat. A struggling young woman develops a psychic connection with a great white shark. What the hell? So is it not a mini stories in one? I thought that it was. Hold on. Let me kind of look at it for a second. So, because it has like a contents 3 37. Okay, so they are all different stories. Okay. I thought they were, but then it kind of made it sound like it was one continuous story. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 different stories in one that are creature themed. Oy. Honestly, they both sound kind of interesting. I'm kind of wondering if I should read Cows. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I gotta read one of them. And I'll have to read it before my niece comes to visit. Hopefully she doesn't find this channel on YouTube before I give her books. Okay. So, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't brushed my hair yet. I took a shower this morning. You know, I've let it air dry. It's just kind of a oof right now. I really can't be bothered to brush it until I get up later. You guys might think that's cringe, but oh, Goldie, you're doing this video, so why can't you do that? No. I am in my room. I will not be leaving until I wake up tonight. Okay, anyway, I keep getting distracted. I think it's because I'm so tired. And this video is already 33 minutes long, so. Okay, let's go. So, okay, actually, I don't really know which one I want to read. I mean, this was interesting. Not really the creature-themed horror, but the fact that it was like 10 separate stories in one. I guess technically I could read one story, but I would like to read the whole book. So, and then this just sounds, I don't even know. But I didn't realize it was a cult classic. And so I kind of feel like I should read it. And the good part, let's see. It is 206 pages. Probably one of the smallest books I will actually read all year unless I read a novella that is shorter or the same. And you know, Mangerie, this book is only a little bit longer. Um, 274 pages. So it's like 68 or so, you know, 60 some pages longer than that. So it's not too much bigger. Okay, guys, I never thought I would be in a dilemma of picking a horror book. But even though they both sound a little chilling, they also both sound interesting. I feel like now I'm going to have to read both of these. Or maybe I'll just have to buy my own copies, which I never thought I would say about a horror book. That is how much I do not read horror book and have no desire to read horror. You know what? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go with Cows. I'm going to do it. You know, it's the shorter one. Like I said, I would like to read the book before they come and visit at the end of the month, and I have to hand these books over to her. So, and you know, she asked for this one specifically. Not saying I won't finish it before they visit, but if I didn't, you know. So I think I'll read Cows by Matthew Stoke. Interesting. I never thought. See, but this is what this reading bucket list challenge is all about. Reading books from other genres and, you know, things that I don't usually read. And this is something I would never actually pick up for myself. So, the second book on the February TBR is going to be Cows by Matthew Stoke. Oh, Lord. Okay, so, wow, that took way too long, I feel like. We have to pick one more book for my reading bucket list challenge. And we've only picked out 2 books. And I want to pick out 6 for my TBR. Okay. Is that 14? I don't know if I did it upside down for you guys. Okay. Yeah, so it was 14. What is 14? Ooh, okay. 14 is a debut novel. Actually, even though I own a lot of books, I don't think I own like any debut novel books. Like the first book that an author's ever written, like in physical copy. I don't think I own something like that. I'm looking across to my other books real quick. No, well, no. Actually, this might be considered a debut novel book. Hold on. I'll have to look. Hold. Let me look it up for a second before I mention it. Because if not, I don't have anything else, and I'll have to find something. Oh, okay. He's actually published. He's actually published a couple different books. His first one in 2016. Okay. Ooh, that one looks interesting too. And that one. Huh. Okay, well, I can't use this book, but how about I tell you guys the book I thought it might be? Because, you know, I've never heard of this author. And, you know, a lot of the books I'm buying, I haven't read any of these authors before because I like trying out new authors. But I bought this one a while ago, and I just thought it sounded really interesting, and I like reading stuff like this every now and then, but I don't read it a lot. So I thought I might be able to read The War on Warriors: Behind the Betrayal of the Men Who Keep Us Free by Pete Hegseth. Like I said, I bought this a while ago. It just sounded super interesting, and like I said, I like reading things like this every now and then. Just to see what it's about, you know. It's just something, and you know, guys, I just said earlier in the video, I majored in history. So stuff that has to do with military, war, past events, all that stuff, I just find it super interesting, and I just want to know about it and read different perspectives and, you know, see what I come up with for myself. So I bought this because I thought maybe you know, I definitely want to read this. But, you know, like so many good intentions, I get distracted by other books. And so it's been sitting on my shelf and I haven't read it yet. But this was not a debut novel for him. Like I said, his first one was published in 2016. So this is actually just his most recent. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is his 6th book he's put out. So not a debut novel. Okay, let me put that back up there. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to look up a debut novel and buy a new book. And I get paid this weekend, so I can buy a new book. You know, at least one. Let's see. Let's look up debut novels. Let's look for lists of great debut novels. Let's see what Goodreads has to say about this. Oh, Harry Potter is number 1. You know, I actually tried to read Harry Potter, but I tried to read it when I was in like middle school, and even though I liked reading back then, and I read series like the Uglies series, you know, they put that on Netflix. Wasn't bad. but so. You know, I liked it. I liked seeing the visual of all of it. And honestly, I should probably like reread the series because I just loved it that much. But anyway, I read a lot more like dystopian like books like that when I was in like middle school and going through high school. So okay, no, To Kill a Mockingbird. Oh God, I hope I never have to read that book again. I am sorry to whoever likes To Kill a Mockingbird, but no, it's just a no for me. You know, maybe in a few years I might consider rereading it again because I will have forgotten everything about it by then. But no, just a no. The Hobbit. No, I'm sorry. No. I have already no. It's just a no. Jane Eyre. I have read that before and I really love that book actually. It kind of had me going cuckoo. The Kite Runner. No. I will never read that book again. I had to read it. What was I? I was a junior in high school and I had to read it. No. It got to the part, the really disturbing, well, of course it's disturbing, but it got to the really upsetting part, which if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe there's a couple of disturbing parts, but I got to what I consider the ultimate disturbing part, and I stopped reading it. And I told my teacher, I said, I'm not reading this. I don't want to read it anymore. I was like, this is upsetting, and I just don't want to. I mean, of course I was interested in some of the history of the things that were happening in the book, but then I got to that part and I was like, no. I was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Allen, I am not reading this anymore. I will read the cliff notes for the chapters. I am not going to read the actual book. And he was like, well, that's your choice. You still have to participate in class and write an essay about it when we're finished reading it. And I'm like, fine. I was like, but I'm just telling you right now, I am not reading this actual physical book anymore. He was like, that's entirely up to you. And I was like, God, you're such a cool ass English teacher. You're Anyway, no. I mean, I understand that by the end, you know, it's a very, and what I had read up until then was a very powerful and raw book. But it was so raw that I just couldn't. And I won't. Okay, let's see. The Time Traveler's Wife, Sense and Sensibility. I can't talk. Sense and Sensibility. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Catcher in the Rye. Didn't like that one either. Watership Down. The Help. You know, I actually watched the movie The Help. I really liked it. But people say the book is really good too. But I feel like it would be kind of like a cheat since I watched the movie. Do you guys think so? The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I remember my older sister reading this. And then I was like, oh, I want to read it too. And she was like, no, this is too much for you. I was like, but the cover looks so cool. Frankenstein, Gone with the Wind, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Wuthering Heights. You know what? I kind of feel like I should read Wuthering Heights since they have made a movie and it's going to be coming out. I've never read it before. I don't know. Let's see. Twilight. Twilight was a debut novel? Whoa. Let's see. Anne of Green Gables. Carrie by Stephen King. The 13th Tale. Outlander. The Bell Jar. The God of Small Things. The Historian. White Oleander. There are some interesting books in here. Even though there are some newer books on here, I kind of feel like this is also like pulls a lot of books from like just like way long ago. And I think I'd like to read some kind of debut novel that's been more recently released. Okay, let me tweak my search. Debut novels. Why don't we just do debut novels from 2025? Okay, let's see. There's 20 right off the bat listed here. Oh! Huh! You know what? I could have just saved myself like at least like the past like 8 minutes or something. Oh Lord. Anyway, I have just seen that Calabasas by R.F. Kuang was their debut novel. And I bought this. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it because I do want to read this book. Even though it's one of my newer ones and I wanted to try and pick from some of my older books. Yeah, I think this is gonna be it. This is gonna be my debut novel book for my second prompt in my reading bucket challenge list. Okay, so now I've got my third book. Oh my god, this is taking forever. I didn't think it would take this long for me to pick my TBR. I don't even think it took me this long last time to pick my TBR. Don't worry guys, I'll edit this down. Hopefully this will not be really as long as I'm recording right now. Anyway, okay, I'll leave those there so I can write them down later. Oh, and I need to tell you guys what my book club book for February is. I didn't write that down yet either, although it was already decided. I just hadn't looked at it yet. Ah, dang. Okay, I mean that's fine. That's fine, but I've already read this book. I wouldn't mind reading it again though. Actually, I have to find my copy first. After moving here, my copy has been lost in the void of this house. But the book that won for my February book for my book club was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I actually bought this not long after it first came out. It was one of those random store trips I took, and I saw it and I thought the cover looked so cool. And let me tell you, it's not the cover with Ryan Gosling on it. And yes, I am very, very interested in watching the movie. I will also, however, be highly disappointed if it does not match up. Although I really liked The Martian, and I did not realize before I watched it that it was also a book by Andy Weir before it became a movie. And so I've actually been interested in getting a copy and reading it and see how it compares to the movie, because I really liked the movie, loved it. And if the movie was that great, then the book is probably like just as great or better, right? I mean, that's my thought. So I really hope they do a good job with the movie. But yeah, so our book club book for the month is Project Hail Mary. I read this back in like, I'd have to look at my 2025 reading journal, but I think I read it in like September. But our second runner-up book, which I have seen a lot of people talk about and which I voted for since I had already read Project Hail Mary, is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Now, I have only read one other V.E. Schwab book. Wait. Yes, I've only read one other V.E. Schwab book, and maybe typically, as has been recently, it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I also read that last year. I read that, again, I'd have to look back at my 2025 reading journal, but I think I read it in the fall sometime. Can't remember what month. But yeah, so this would only be the second book by V.E. Schwab that I've read. And honestly, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I've heard a lot of people say it was fun, they enjoyed it, it was interesting. And then I've heard people say that they liked it, but they didn't like it that much. So, well, I will be rereading Project Hail Mary. Whether I can find my physical copy, I don't know. If I can't, I think I would like to try the audio this time, because while I really enjoyed reading it, you know, the first time through, I'd be really interested to do the audio and see how that is and see if it changes my experience or my love of the book any, because let me tell you guys, I loved that book. But I think I won't put Project Hail Mary on my TBR since I've already read it and it would be a reread for me. I think I'll just put Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab on my TBR. So that will be my fourth book. Even though technically it's the alternative read for my book club for February, that's okay. But that will be on my TBR for February. Okay, so now that's the fourth book. Let me see here. Did I? Boo, boo, boo. Okay, last month. Okay, I see what I did here. So, okay, I forgot that last month I included the alternate read in my book club on my TBR because I wanted to read it, and I had the physical copy. And then I picked a book I wanted to read. So, since I've already read the main book for my book club this month, and I'm not gonna put that on my TBR, since it will be a reread for me, not a first time read, I guess I'll just pick two books that I want to read. I mean, obviously, Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies is something I'm going to be reading anyway, but I'm not considering that part of my TBR, like I said. That's just going to be something I'm reading. So, yes. If you guys have seen my other videos, you know I said that I wanted to put this on my February TBR because I am too stoked to read it. I read the first one, not last year, but I think the year before that, so I read it 2 years ago. But guys, the story is still like in my head, like not all the small details, but for the most part, the main story is in my head. And like I said, it came out, it was a new release in January, and I bought it as soon as I saw it at the store, and that is The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. I am so excited to read this. So excited. Woo! So it's basically a continuation from where the first one, well, not from where the first one left off. The Last Thing He Told Me, the first book. I think this is supposed to be like 5 years later. Yeah, 5 years after her husband Owen disappeared, Hannah and her stepdaughter Bailey have settled into a new life in Southern California. So, okay, yeah, so this book does a time jump to 5 years later. I'm excited. Okay. Book one that I have chosen. I don't know why I'm saying book one. This would technically be the 5th book for my TBR that I've chosen. And then I need to choose one. Well, I don't need to, but I would like to choose one more for my TBR. I don't know if I can pick though, because I bought so many recently that I want to read. You know what? Actually, I kind of want to read this, but I also kind of want to read this since I know the next one is going to be coming out, I think in either March or April. Actually, hold on. Let me grab a couple of books that I am very interested in reading. And then we'll do something to pick which one which one is going to be the last one on my February TBR. Okay, so I need to pick between these 5 books that I just picked up. And all of them are ones that I very much want to read but haven't gotten to yet. So this first one is The Last of the Moon Girls by Barbara Davis. I've heard about it for a while, but I didn't have a physical copy, and my older sister actually got my grandma this book for Christmas, and she devoured it. I mean, you know, she had to go back a couple of times and remind herself of who the characters were, just because, you know, she's old. She can't remember everything anymore. But she finished it in like a week, maybe 5 days. She finished it really quick, and I was like, dang, Grandma, that must have been good. And she was like, it was. So then she was like, here, you take it so you can read it too. And I was like, okay, definitely. I've definitely wanted to read this, and now I don't have to buy it. So this is one that I'm very interested in reading. This next one, I am also very interested in reading before April, because the second book is supposed to be coming out in April. So if I don't read it this month, I will be reading it next month, and it will be a book I choose to put on my TBR. So, and that is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Like I said, I got this book a while ago at Barnes & Noble. And yeah, I know, I still have this sticker on the front. I just didn't want it to peel wrong and then leave sticky shit on the front of my book, so I never took it off or tried to. Okay, it didn't leave any sticky shit. I just took it off. Anyway, it has been a book that I have wanted to read for a while. I just haven't. A little bit because it's so chonky, but also just because I have heard, you know, I would say about 98% or maybe 95% good things about this book. So I know I'll probably really like it. But when I bought it and then I realized it was going to be a part of a series, I was like, I don't know if I want to read it and then have to wait for the next book. And even though I think this is going to be a trilogy, I'll have to look up to be sure. Even though I think this is going to be a trilogy, the next book is coming out in April. So if I read it this month or next month, I wouldn't have to wait long until the second book came out and I could keep reading. So this is definitely a contender. Now the next book would just be something fun and light, I think besides, let me see. Yeah, I think, well, anyway, yeah, I think it would just be a nice, fun read, and I love, cute romance books, and this is supposed to be, a cute romance book, I think. Brother's Best Friend Romance. God. Okay, I really do like Brother's Best Friend Romance. It's Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I can't remember what the series is called, but I bought this because I know it's the first one in the series, and I was interested in reading it and seeing if I liked it enough to want to read the rest of the series. So yeah. Now, the next one. I have heard really good things about this series, and there's like a sequel series that's coming out now. I think one book is already out, and I think the second book may have just come out or is coming out this month. I'd have to look it up to remember. But I've heard that this original series is like, it's really good. And I showed you guys, I bought the trilogy box set not too long ago, and yes, you're right, it is Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Mansilico. Okay, you know what, I know I didn't say that right, but I have heard really good things about this series, and not too long ago in one of my videos I showed you guys that I bought the box set for the 3. So I am very interested in reading this, and I want to go on ahead and read this series because I want to start reading that next series that's coming out. It sounds good too. But yeah, so this, and then the last one, because I know the 3rd book in the series, I'm pretty sure comes out next month. And you know, even though I'm not like super excited to read this second book, I would just like to read it and get it over with. I know that sounds terrible. And you know what? Maybe I'll end up liking it for the most part, and I'll just be eating my words. But yeah, I think this could be up for potential. And that is Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. And I know I mentioned it in one of my other videos, but I really liked Lights Out. And I didn't realize at first, until I looked into the book more, that it was going to be a series. And I think I already explained this a little bit. I was really excited when I saw that there was going to be another book. And then when the blurb for it dropped, I was so excited to read it and find out who the character was going to be, because I thought it was going to be the roommate from the first guy's book. But then I was like, well, if it was going to be him, why would they introduce this other character at the end and like make up this whole sequence so you could introduce this character? And then when the blurb came out, I was like, oh, that's why they added all that shit to the end and decided to divert and drive me nutty for the last 50 pages, because they wanted to introduce the character for the next book. And so when I read it, I wasn't like really sure I wanted to read it, because I wasn't really interested in knowing about this character more. He didn't really catch my attention that much. I mean, I was kind of interested, like, oh, okay, intrigue, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I want to know his story next. No. Nope, not at all. So I didn't really think I was gonna read the book, but then I saw that they were coming up with the 3rd book, and I'm pretty sure that one is about the roommate of the first guy, or the roommate of the guy in the first book. I can't remember his name. I think Tyler was the roommate, I think. Maybe. And I think the 3rd book is his book. I'd have to go back and look again to be sure, but I think the 3rd one is his book, and I think it's coming out next month. And so I would like to read that, so I would like to read this before that comes out. So yeah, this is also an option. So 5 options. I wonder how I should pick between them, because honestly, I'm not really sure. I mean, if I want to pick one, if I want to like, oh, what if I make a wheel real quick with these book titles on it, and then spin it, and whichever one it lands on, That's the one I read. I could live with that. All right, hold on, you guys. I'll be back. Moon Girls. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So actually, that went a lot easier and quicker than I thought it would. But yeah. So I put these 5 titles in a wheel generator, and I'm just going to click it, spin it, and see what book it lands on. And whatever book it lands on, that will be the book that I finish off my February TBR with. So, all right, let me get rid of this ad because it's really pissing me off that it's right there. Close. All right. I know it's going to look kind of funny on the screen, which is why I'm not trying to get it closer, but let's spin. Oh, it would fucking do that shit to me. Damn it. I don't want to say this is the one I was least looking forward to, even though I need to read it, but it was the one that I was least looking to read, even though I need to read it. I am a woman of my word. My last book for my February TBR will be Caught Up. And honestly, I just hope I enjoy it. I hope that all the reviews and things that I've heard about it are really just more biased and, you know, person related than really a true reflection of the book. Because I truly did like the first one. I thought it was fun, it was dark, it was spicy, you know, I really did enjoy it. So I hope that I enjoy this. But now I'm really thinking about these 4 other books. Should we pick one more? Honestly, I don't think we should, because I mean, like you guys saw, I was barely able to finish. Actually, I didn't finish all 6 of the books I put on my TBR for January. I only finished 5. Excuse me. I really wanted to read one of these other 4 I picked out though. But you know what? I am getting ready to have my weekend off this weekend. So you know what? I'm gonna read the shit out of my books this weekend. Or at least I'm gonna try. And we'll see how far I can get on my TBR in this first week. Okay. Alright. So, anyway. This is what the TBR is looking like. Caught Up. The last time I saw him. Okay, well technically Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is not part of my TBR, but it is something I want to finish first before I start anything else this month. Calabasas by R.F. Kuang, Cows by Matthew Stoke, and The Secret The Secret Garden by Frances Burnett. So it's a pretty eclectic collection of books I've got going on here. Oh my god, I cannot believe I have just noticed. Well, okay, I guess this would be considered like dark romance. But yeah, that's the only romance I have on this list. Well, I am really reading some new shit this month. Go me. Yeah, so we've talked about January, our February TBR. I'll talk a little bit about the new releases I'm looking forward to when I do my reading journal, when I film that this coming up weekend. Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's gonna be all for now, since I'm going to film my reading journal videos later. So yeah. Okay. If I think of anything else I need to regale you guys with, I will record it. But for now, I think that is all I need to talk about. Yep. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a great February, even though I will see you a couple more times this month. Okay, anyway, bye.